Imagine a power so destructive it could wipe out an entire city in seconds. Now imagine over 12,000 of these weapons exist, right now, spread across just a handful of countries. In this video, we're diving into a global secret most of us rarely think about. Which countries have the most nuclear weapons, and why this still matters to every single one of us. Let's uncover the hidden arsenal shaping global politics and peace. Alright, let's kick things off with the reigning champion of nuclear warheads, Russia. They've got enough firepower to make a Michael Bay film look like a low-budget indie flick. We're talking about roughly 4,480 nuclear warheads, and that's just the ones they're willing to admit to. It's like they're playing nuclear poker and they've got a royal flush of doom. Now, you might be wondering, why does Russia need so many nukes? Well, it's complicated. See, after World War II, the US and the Soviet Union entered into this little thing called the Cold War. Imagine two guys at a pie-eating contest, except instead of pies, it's weapons of mass destruction, and instead of a prize, it's global dominance. The Soviet Union, bless their cotton socks, decided to go all in on nukes. They figured, hey, if we have enough to turn the planet into a radioactive wasteland several times over, nobody's going to mess with us. And you know what? They were kind of right. For decades, the threat of mutually assured destruction kept things, well, if not peaceful, then at least not on fire. But then the Soviet Union went the way of the dinosaurs, minus the space rock, and Russia inherited the world's biggest collection of please don't make us use these buttons. Next up, we've got the United States, the original nuclear nation, the OG mushroom cloud creators. They're like the friend who shows up to a party with a six-pack of enriched uranium. Now, the US has been a bit more reserved with its nuclear arsenal compared to Russia. They've only got around 3,708 warheads, which, let's be honest, is still enough to make Gandhi contemplate violence. The US likes to justify its nuclear arsenal by saying it's all about deterrence. Their argument is, if everyone knows we could turn the planet into a glowing parking lot, nobody will mess with us and everyone will just get along. Because nothing says peace and harmony like the threat of annihilation, right? Now, let's talk about China, the world's economic powerhouse with a nuclear arsenal shrouded in more secrecy than a Kardashian's private chef's recipe book. China's playing its nuclear hand closer to the chest than a poker champion with a tell. They're estimated to have around 350 warheads, which in fairness is practically pocket change compared to Russia and the US. But here's the thing about China. They're like that quiet kid in class who aces every test without breaking a sweat. They're rapidly modernizing their military, and their nuclear capabilities are no exception. And while China claims its nuclear program is purely defensive, just in case someone decides to use their country as a giant dartboard, their neighbors are starting to get a little fidgety. Chapter 4. France. The land of fine wine, delicious cheese, and enough nuclear weapons to turn the Eiffel Tower into a radioactive kebab skewer. France is like that friend who shows up to a potluck with a perfectly respectable salad, and then casually mentions they also brought a tactical nuke, just in case. They've got around 290 warheads, which, in the grand scheme of things, puts them in fourth place. But don't let their ranking fool you. France takes its nuclear capabilities very seriously. They've got submarines that can launch nukes from underwater, because nothing says deterrence like a weaponized game of Battleship. And they've got fighter jets that can drop nuclear bombs from the sky. Because who needs a good night's sleep when you can have the threat of imminent annihilation? Chapter 5. And then there's the United Kingdom, the land of tea, crumpets, and enough nuclear weapons to turn Big Ben into a radioactive sundial. The UK is like that friend who's always impeccably dressed, even when they're threatening to unleash nuclear Armageddon. They've got around 225 warheads, which is more than enough to ruin everyone's day, even if they're not at the top of the leaderboard. Now, the UK's nuclear strategy is all about Trident. And no, we're not talking about the sugar-free gum, we're talking about their fleet of nuclear-armed submarines that are basically underwater castles of doom. These submarines are like the ultimate insurance policy. They're expensive, they're discreet, and they're hopefully never going to be used. But here's the thing about the UK's nuclear arsenal. It's a bit controversial. Chapter 6. Now let's turn our attention to Pakistan, a country with a lot on its plate, including an estimated 170 nuclear warheads. Pakistan is like that friend who shows up to a party late carrying a boombox. That might also be rigged to explode. They're relatively new to the nuclear club, having conducted their first tests in 1998. But don't let their newcomer status fool you. Pakistan takes its nuclear arsenal very seriously. They see it as the ultimate guarantor of their security, especially given their often tense relationship with their neighbor, India. Now, Pakistan's nuclear program has been a source of international concern, particularly given the country's history of political instability and the risk of nuclear materials falling into the wrong hands. Chapter 7. India, the elephant in the nuclear room. Speaking of India, let's not forget about the other half of that nuclear staring contest. India has an estimated 160 nuclear warheads, and they're not afraid to let everyone know about it. India's nuclear program is driven by a complex mix of factors, including regional security concerns. Mainly, you guessed it, Pakistan, a desire for international prestige, and a belief that a nuclear arsenal is essential for any country that wants to be taken seriously on the world stage. It's like getting a driver's license. It's a rite of passage, a symbol of adulthood, and a way to show everyone that you're not a kid anymore. Now, India's nuclear program has also been a source of international concern, particularly given the country's history of conflict with Pakistan. Chapter 8. Israel, the nuclear enigma. And then there's Israel, a country that's about as open about its nuclear program as a teenager is about their diary. Israel is like that friend who brings a mysterious Tupperware container to the party. You have no idea what's inside, but you're pretty sure you don't want to know. Israel has never officially confirmed or denied possessing nuclear weapons, but it's widely believed that they have around 80 to 90 warheads. They're like the magician who never reveals their secrets. They want you to know they have the power, but they're not going to tell you how they got it. Now, Israel's nuclear ambiguity has been a source of both frustration and fascination for the international community. Chapter 9. North Korea, the rogue nation playing with fire. Last but not least, we have North Korea. The country that's basically the Dennis Rodman of nuclear powers. They're unpredictable, they're attention-seeking, and they're not afraid to make a lot of noise to get what they want. North Korea is like that friend who shows up to the party uninvited, wearing a lampshade on their head and starts juggling chainsaws that are also on fire. North Korea has an estimated 30 to 40 nuclear warheads, which might not seem like a lot compared to the big players, but it's enough to cause a whole lot of trouble. They've been rapidly developing their nuclear and missile capabilities, conducting frequent tests that have set the international community on edge. Now, North Korea claims that its nuclear program is necessary for its self-defense, but most experts believe that it's more about regime survival and trying to force the international community to make concessions. Outrow the future of fear. So there you have it. A glimpse into the exclusive and terrifying world of nuclear-armed nations. It's a world where power is measured in megatons, security is a zero-sum game, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. As we've seen, the reasons why these countries have nuclear weapons are complex and varied, ranging from legitimate security concerns to Cold War paranoia to good old-fashioned egotism. But one thing is clear, the existence of these weapons makes the world a more dangerous place. Hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, do you think nuclear weapons make the world safer or more dangerous?